So when Phil suggested this song for the ending of our music series, it was perfect. Because the journey for all of us is a long and winding road, wherever we are. And wherever we're going and wherever we've been doesn't really matter. What matters is that we are present. We are alive. And we twist and turn through many of life's challenges along the journey. But we are not the challenges. We are more than them. We are life, everlasting, eternal. And or at least I'm going to speak for myself here, I tend to forget that at times. But this is really about my soul's journey. It's not about my journey. It's not about me. It is about that greater essence of who I am. The spirit that is alive in me and in each of you. That is what is really, that is life. And in this life, we're faced with many, many challenges, which create fear, anxiety. And it creates it so that we can move through it in all that we do. So it's not something working against us. And I really want to be clear about that. There is not a presence greater than us that is working against us. There is not a presence greater than the universe that's working against any one person, circumstance, or situation. It may feel like it at times, but that's not the truth. This is a road that we are born into. And in order to journey down this road with the path illuminated for us, we have to know who we are. And when Phil suggested this song, I said, yeah, it takes me back to some memories. It was the song we had at my high school prom. That was our theme song, The Long and Winding Road. And I knew at that day when that song was chosen that that is so true. Because we had our whole life ahead of us, right? You know, we're high school students. How powerful do we think we are? Or how insignificant do we think we are? Depending on where you were at that point in your life. And yet the journey goes on. It goes on beyond us and the essence of us, because it goes on as spirit. And it is reawakened and rebirthed every day. In us, in each other, in a newborn child. That Christ consciousness is an awareness of our journeys. And there is no wrong journey. There is no wrong path. Even in the pandemic, there is good. We find the good. We live out the good in our lives. I didn't say it was easy, because it's not. But if we can remember that it's really about the greater self. So in Unity, a lot of times we'll talk about the big T, little t, so the big truth, little truth. Well, the big T is the big self, right? Which is spirit, the divine mind, God, whatever, Allah, whatever name you want to give it, universe, universal energy, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we know that it's there. It's the essence of life, period. And then the little t would be our own self, that little S, the personality that we are developing. And I say we are developing because it's a continuous path of growth. We don't stop one day and say, okay, we're done, and just live out our life. It doesn't work that way. There is always the next thing. As long as we are breathing on this planet, there will be challenges for us to move through, individually and collectively, to come to that place of peace and humanity. And we're not there yet. And so we still have the journey. There's lessons that we have to learn about ourselves that make the journey a little easier when we come back to spirit, to that awakening, to that knowing of oneness. So how do we do that? What are they? And it's nothing new. I'm not going to tell you anything today that I haven't told you in the past. So we have to observe ourselves, observe our own thoughts, observe our actions. How am I carrying myself in this world? What are the choices that I'm making? And if we don't recognize ourselves, we have the right to choose again. So if we are living from that personality instead of from our essence, how are we doing? Are we doing okay? Because you can get along like that for a long time. But at some point, there will be a huge awakening come into your life. I see it every day when I come to church. I see the houseless who are lost in their little self, lost in the observation of the world that is against them. And they have yet to awaken to their power and their truth that can carry them through it. It's disheartening sometimes. And then I have to remember, it is their path. I can't do it for them. We each get to choose our own way. It's called free will. And boy, sometimes it really irritates me. I don't know about you, but I really get irritated when I see people in my observations, in my point of view, who are not doing what I want them to do. Anybody else got that? Right? Whether it's your kids, your family, somebody on the street, somewhere else. You know, why can't you just do it my way? It'd make life a lot easier. Well, guess what? That's not true. We each have our own way. And we each get to grow into that essence of us. And I have to remember that. So the second step is to be self-remembering. I have to remember that I, too, am an expression and manifestation of the source. And sometimes my ego can get in my own way. Right? And in that aspect of, wait a minute, I have all the solutions, because I don't, and I know that. So sometimes I have to remind myself of that, though. That the real guidance for me is within. I was blessed as a child and have had an opportunity to live a life of gratitude. Some will say I'm privileged. My sister and I would disagree, and that's okay. We had this discussion recently when I was with her. Because we had a lot of challenges growing up, but the one good thing we had in our life was unity and a way of life that was different from everybody else's. It gave us a different perspective. It gave us different tools in our toolbox to utilize, to recognize the essence of who we are. and to live in that space of gratitude for that, because not everybody got that as children. We got told we were beautiful children of God every day, and that we were the essence of life every day. And that is a true blessing, and I am so grateful for that opportunity. And when the challenges were there, we could remember that it wasn't about us. That's all going on in the outer. And Mom was real good to remind us of that. And so I'm grateful for that also, because we had the lessons that a lot of people move through in their lives with family, of addiction and anger at the world. But we were taught that it wasn't the truth of who we were, that the challenges were coming from within the own soul of our Father and the experiences that He had on this planet. And so that allowed me to recognize the good that was in it. And it wasn't always pretty, but I could see the good. And it allowed my father an opportunity for growth, to move through it, and to walk away from addiction, and to find peace within instead of in the outer. And that was a blessing for me and our whole family. So when we can justify and see ourselves as the essence of our truth, we begin to have a relationship with ourselves. And that's what happened with my dad. He began to have a relationship with himself that was different than the relationship that he grew up with. And I probably told you all this before. He was in Pearl Harbor when it was bombed in World War II, and it left a devastating effect on him for his entire life. And in the end, he recognized that that was just part of the journey. And it wasn't who he was, and he was allowed to let that go. But it took many years. And for myself, his experience affected me, right? Because all of that chaos that goes on within a person in your household affects you energetically, even though you are separated from it. And then it allowed me to view life in a different way. I've had challenges, not to the extent that my father did, or his father before him. But I also recognize when I've had challenges, a lot of them I created in my own self, through my own thinking about what was going on outside of me, about what someone else thought of me, about what someone else might have said or an action that they took that I then interpreted against me. And then as I continued to do my own spiritual work and to go within and ask for guidance. I was led down a path of love. And I am so grateful for that. Because in the worst of my challenges of healing myself, I didn't know if I would survive to the next morning some days. And so the pain was so overwhelming, I was paralyzed for many, many days. And to be able to recognize that one of the tools that I had been given, I wasn't using, came from the essence of who I am. It was that reminder that there's something greater than you that will heal you back to your perfection of wholeness. And many of us forget that because we live in that 90% personality and 10% essence. And we really have to live in a balanced world. I learned that the hard way. And I really try not to forget it. We can't live totally in the spiritual world. We can't live in meditation every day. I mean, you can choose to do that. But then you sacrifice another part of your journey when you do that. And when we live totally from that personality, we sacrifice our spiritual essence, right? And so learning the balance of prayer is essential to our soul's growth. Prayer always leads us back to that awakening. It leads us back to that door. That door that I was talking about in the song. It leads me back to you, to that divine essence of the truth of who I am, who you are, wherever you are in your journey. We all get to make choices. We get to live in faith with gratitude, or we get to live in fear, hiding from the world. I choose to live in faith with gratitude. It's scary because I never really know what's coming at me. And I say yes sometimes and people are looking at me going, "You did what? Why did you do that?" Well, because it felt right. I was inspired to go with the flow. And I live in that flow of that river every day. And sometimes it is scary and it gets a little rocky and a little turbulent. And I know with faith that it will become a smooth, divine flow to the abundance, not only of for myself, for this spiritual community, and beyond for the world. So we all have to find that essence and take steps to live on the path illuminated by Spirit. Where am I? Where am I right now today? What is my deepest desire? What is that I am most grateful for in my life? And then when you figure that out, am I willing? Am I willing to do the work to reprogram myself, my habits, my brain, my thoughts, to recreate who I am and who I want to be, and return to my spiritual journey on that long and winding road to a wonderful world that we get to manifest along the way? We get to create the roadmap. And if we create it using our GPS system, which is our God, right, positioning system, or our God power and strength, is the way I like to see it. Because when I go to that essence of who I am, There is an powerful strength within me that will take me through any challenge that passes my way, that allows me to unblock any obstacle so that the river of good can flow, the river of life can flow. But I have to remember to be me. I can't be you. I can't be someone else. I get to be me. This is the door to your awakening. And each door's different. We're all unique. You are waiting for you. You are seeking your own essence. Whether you know it or not, that is your truth. It is a long and winding road, but if you commit to yourself, then you're willing to change the programs. If you think constructively, manifest that confidence, that inner power, that strength that you have, you can meet your challenges and let them go and tune in to all the good in the universe, to that abundant life that is awaiting you right now in your awakening. So tune into that wonderful world, that wonderful life. And know that every step of your journey, life is yours to live and to be. So live out loud, joyful, expressing blessings. You are a beautiful being filled with love to create the wonderful world where skies are opening, where love flows as the river. Namaste.